Professor Montgomery sure is a huge fan of Korean literature, and his blog looks like almost a guiding light to foreigners who are interested in getting involved and learning about Korean literature. I think I'll go pay the blog a visit myself.
Great. Well, in addition to his blog, he's been posting all of his information on Wikipedia, which is awesome. So he's been using all possible means online to disseminate the greatest of Korean literature. And what I really liked about his work is that he also spends a lot of time traveling and, using those information onto, online sources. What did you think about their trip to Gyeongju?
I think it's really interesting, especially seeing those places at night. It's really magical. It's like being in a different world altogether. I think it's really, really good to a really good way of learning about history if you really go to those places and see those places for yourself.
And I really like their trip to Gyeongju. Obviously, Gyeongju is a city of ancient kingdom for 1,000 years, and it's home to many historical relics and sites. It's a must-visit city for many first-time travelers in Korea.
Absolutely. I visited the observatory, Cheomseongdae, and I've also visited the temple, which is really amazing in fall because all the leaves are red.
Right.
And in winter, it's also amazing when all the snow just like piles up and the river, the pond just freezes.
Yeah.
It's all ice. So it's absolutely breathtaking. And seeing them go to those locations at night as well, seeing those places light up, it's just magical.
Yeah, and my favorite place in Gyeongju is Golgursa, which is they practice the Sun Mudo martial art.
Oh.
It's really cool. It's almost like the Shaolin Temple of Korea. So if you want to get active, you can check that out. But on today's travel tips, we're going to follow along and find out about the hidden treasures of Gyeongju.
There's so much to see and try in Gyeongju, the capital of an ancient kingdom for 1,000 years. But if sightseeing alone is not enough for you, here's how you can make the most of your trip in this historic city. Well, there's a village in Gyeongju where the spirit of ancient Joseon kings is still alive. It's Yangdong Folk Village, which is also a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It offers all kinds of programs allowing tourists to sample life at the Joseon Royal Court. You can try on the traditional Korean dress called hanbok and play traditional games and make traditional food firsthand. A stay at a traditional style house, hanok, is also a must-try. You can have a bird's eye view of Gyeongju in a hot air balloon flying 150 meters above the ground. If you want to know what Gyeongju looks like from the sky, then don't miss this chance. The last tip for today is a program called Shilla Moonlight Walk. Gyeongju becomes a different landscape after the sunset. Even Professor Montgomery and Sanjae were completely mesmerized by the nightscape of Gyeongju. The Shilla Moonlight Walk program is provided by tourist guides. You get to walk with lanterns, make a wish as you walk around stone pagodas, and enjoy a traditional music performance in a cozy ancient house. It's a program that will delight all your five senses. Well, that's it for today's travel tips. Now let's check out how Professor Montgomery and Sanjae are spending time in Gyeongju.
Today, Professor and I will explore the world of literature in Gyeongju.
And I've always been interested in Korean literature. I find that it's a brilliant window on the culture. And I've also always loved this region, the Gyeongju region, and the history that's associated with it, the Shilla Empire. So I thought that this trip would be a really great chance for me to combine those two things and gain a kind of unified knowledge of both the literature of the area, the history of the area, and the culture of the area. And because Shilla and Gyeongju and its literature, to some extent, are the heart of Korea and Korean history. And so on this trip, I hope that I'll be able to gain a better understanding of all those things. One of the things that everyone needs to know about translating Korean poetry is that a little something does get lost, and I think I have an example of that. Here are three words, basically, in Korean. Sanun Gugan San Borabit Suksan. And I think even if you don't understand Korean, you can hear the rhythm and the repetition of sounds in that. And it gets translated to the mountain is Nine River Mountain, Purple Stone Mountain, which is good translation, but not necessarily gets everything out of the poem. However, Pak Mok-gwal is a pretty good poet to do this kind of translation to because he is a relatively simple poet. And therefore his work translates well. And I'm going to read a brief poem that combines two of the things he's really interested in, nature and writing itself, the creative act of writing. And this is called The Mountain Peach 3. The sound of cold running water is reflected on the blue stone. Birds cry in the mountain village where snow has half melted. A noonday in the month of March, in the ink drawing of blue field, a bud or two of mountain peach shows nobly, brightening the mountain. Then a line of poetry, iridescently bright.